Now, anyone that has actually played For Honor since, let's say, around 2019 knows that the game is a class-based system. I say that in quotations. We have Vanguards, that are your bread and butter, or the basic bitches. We have your Assassins, aka the most annoying heroes in the game at the moment. And then we have the Hybrids, who are either half and half, so either really overpowered or really ass. This brings us to the Heavy class, undeniably the most played class in the game. Every single hero in the Heavy class is an A-tier hero. Don't believe me? Let's go through all of them. Black Prior, Hitakiri, Jangjun, Rengi, Guard. All of these heroes fall into 3 categories: overpowered, annoying, or just both. I do want to ask you a question like I do in every video. Do you see a pattern with these heroes? Yeah, that's right. Not a single year 1 hero is on this list. And that's just the honest truth, that the year 1 heavy heroes, that they can be good with the examples of Warlord and Shigoki, but still pale in comparison to what is released today. But where does that leave Conqueror? Well, he's in his own tier of just plain bad. Now for the new players, they must think I'm fucking stupid. How could a hero with an infinite unblockable chain be bad? Well, my advice is to see why he's bad, just put some reps into him, and you'll see what I'm talking about. See, over time, characters do fundamentally change when a hero gets buffed or nerfed in certain ways. It can change their playstyle entirely. The best example I would say is Orochi before and after rework. Going from just, well, a light spamming Roach to, well, this. Orochi's skill gap lowered immensely after the rework, but the fundamentals of him definitely changed. This just was never the case for Conqueror though. His entire life he was known as a bash spammer because every other tool he had was just literally terrible. Don't believe me. Conqueror was actually the only hero for a very long time to not have a feint button. Yes, you threw a heavy as old Conk, you physically couldn't feint it. The only way you could was by going into full block stance, which, you know, throwing a heavy, going into full block and trying to get a guard break was just way too slow, you would eat the heavy. So a whole mechanic of the game was locked if you picked Conqueror. Let's fast forward all the way to 2021. Conk went through some minor buffs, like having an unblockable attack added to his charged heavy, but really nothing amazing, until December, where he finally got his rework. Improvements all around the entire board, and yes, they allowed him to feint his heavies. Not only could he feint them, but they were undodgeable and had a mid-chain bash connected to it. This is where I had the opinion where Conqueror kind of turned into a BP clone, but, you know, this time with an infinite chain, which I really don't want to think about. This change to Conk sparked a lot of controversy for many reasons. You see, a running joke I have is that Conk is labeled as a hard hitter, but his full block damage today does 13. But he was one of the hardest hitters in the game. When he first got these changes, his chain heavies were a whopping 27 damage. This was really good for infinite chain undodgeable heavies that also had a mix-up of a bash in between. Not to mention, the added damage from his feet shield bash added an extra 5 damage to what was already a 17 damage flail uppercut. Now many things that were from the testing rounds did get implemented into the full game, but the undodgeable changes turned into unblockable heavies, and they slowed down his mid-chain bash and gave it a feintable property, giving it more chain pressure. See, but what every Conk main was really unhappy with was the removal of the infinite full block zone attack. Now let's not really kid ourselves, as funny and as useful Conk full block zone was, it was truly the most frustrating move in his kit. It really just kind of felt like I'm gonna hit this button and win. And I wonder what else, who else has that button. Konk's full block on zone was safe as Bowser's up B after shield, and that's kind of why it had to be removed. It was just too safe, you could press it whenever you wanted. Let's fast forward again to June 30th, 2020, and Conqueror would start to see the nerfs that turned him into what he is today. Basically, to sum up everything, all of Konk's damage was just thrown into the trash and left to rot. Fundamentally, Conk was basically back to basics, where you really just wanted to use the bash. The light attacks were good interrupts, but, you know, they were very well animated, so there was a chance that if you throw it, you would get parried, and the second really awkward double light from the same side could happen, which was, you know, 800 MS. Even when he lands the only move that I see as viable to use, it's still doing a whole 13 damage. That is less than some light attacks in the game. Even his full block is a 13 damage punish. This is the lowest damage full block in the game. VP's bulwark counter does 24. Kyoshin's full block does 18 before factoring in bleed damage from his first feat, and VG's full block does 20 to 24 if she has her third feat active, which I can say she just always does. I can understand Konk's light attack being 13 damage, it's a wide swing unblockable, more, you know, like a get off me tool if multiple people are attacking him. But the flail uppercut needs to do more than 13. It's a single target, then, you know, it should be brought back up to its 18 damage for its full block punish and 15 damage for its bash punish. Before you ask, well, isn't this a little high? Well, no, really, no, it's not, because there are many bashes in the game that do more than 18. Hitakiri and Valkyrie are perfect examples where Hitakiri does 22 damage on level 1 and executes, and the other one does 18 on Valkyrie. This isn't really where it stops, though, on Konk's lists of bad. See, if you ever find yourself being stomped by a Konk, there is literally one tech that can make him obsolete. Yeah, you can just roll away from Konk, and there is absolutely nothing you can do. He has no chase tool, no roll catch, and his running attack does not track or send him forward at all. This is probably the biggest reason people hate maining him, because any smart player can realize, wait, I don't have to deal with this, and walk away. There is nothing in this world that can amount to the frustration levels this can give Konk players. But being frustrated is what they're really good at. His dodge bash has guard breakable frames around 100 ms from the side bashes, and his full block cannot hit anyone with dodge cancels. Yes, you heard me. His fucking full block cannot hit people like Orochi if they're spamming dodge attack and they externally hit you. You know who doesn't have that problem? Every single other hero with full block. Even minion lane. If there is a chance that a minion will hit your guard frames after the enemy hits yours, and the full block will target the minions instead of the person. How's it feel, VG?
You hit a minion instead.
Really, just at the end of the day, I do love Konk, but fundamentally, things really need to change around him. Every single heavy hero that is released, I can say really confidently, is just a better version of Konk. There are a lot of people that are diehard Rep 80 Konk mains, and I know many of them watching this are about to have a heart attack in anger because of how much they had to relive every moment this hero was obsolete watching this. Yibi, give my boy Konk some love, and as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic day.